You ready to learn how to hem your jeans? Let's do this. Hello, my sewing friends. My name is Leah Day, and we are going to hem our blue jeans today. I'm going to teach you all the steps to doing this, from trimming off the hem, giving it a test fit, making sure it's going to look good, rolling up the hem, and stitching through it. I'll give you lots of tips on sewing this using a Singer heavy-duty sewing machine. Now, I am an online sewing instructor and a Singer dealer, so if you'd like to learn more about this sewing machine, come and check it out at leahday.com/4432. If you have any questions about hemming your blue jeans, please post in the comments below. I do read and respond to every comment I receive. So, how are we going to get started hemming our blue jeans? Very first step is to put them on and decide how much you want to hem them up. I was actually working on my bell-bottom pants tutorial, and I thought that I wanted the hem to land at the original hem of my jeans. Well, turns out that was just a little bit too long and it didn't give me the right look for my bell bottoms. So I decided to roll it up another ½ inch, and that was the perfect height. Always make sure whenever you are trying on your pants, try them on, stand up, wear some shoes, and sit down to make sure that you like where that hem is landing. Now, depending on how high your hem is going, this process is going to either feel pretty easy or it might feel a little bit more tricky. If you're going much higher on your pants, then you're not going to go off of any fold lines that are already there within the hem, in which case you are creating brand new folds. Apply starch, press firmly with your iron. Don't hesitate to let the iron sit there for a little bit and use a higher heat. Understand that adding that stiffness in and getting that nice crisp edge, that's a process, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time. The more time that you take in this prep on your pressing board, the better your jeans are gonna look, I promise. So once you're solid with it, you're ready to sew, lift your machine out of your sewing table if you are using one. This is my affordable sewing table. I usually keep my machine sunk down into it. You also want to remove any accessory trays around your machine because you want to access the free arm. The free arm allows you to slip the jeans around this narrow section on the machine and be able to stitch and have it just glide through the machine so much easier. So using that free arm, if you have one, is so essential. You can't use it with the machine down in the table though, you do have to lift it up. So getting started on your hem, you're going to want to get started right before one of the thicker areas that we're stitching through. And the cool thing is sometimes you can actually trim down some of that thickness and reduce some of that bulk. The thick spots on a blue jeans hem is the hardest area to stitch through. So we're going to kind of eat our vegetables first and make sure to get through the hardest part first as we are stitching this. But if you can, trim down that little bit of extra fabric within the seam, fold it back up again, and that's going to help to reduce bulk, make it just a little bit easier to stitch through. Now, Singer heavy duties are amazing. They can stitch through all of these layers and not gag. But what if your machine is just a little bit more delicate and doesn't have this much strength? As you're going over the thicker seams, you're going to want to hand guide. What that means is take your hand and rotate the hand wheel on the side of the sewing machine towards you. Always rotate it towards you to take one stitch at a time. Occasionally you're going to have to lift the presser foot and kind of wiggle the fabrics a little bit. If it's not feeding, like the feed dogs are just not capable of feeding the fabric forward, you're going to kind of be manually making those stitches through that thicker section. Take your time. Don't stitch with your foot up. Don't try and muscle yourself through it. I did experiment quite a bit with my Singer 4432, and I was actually able to stitch through the thickest, bulkiest part of the hem with no problem. I do recommend going slowly though. You don't want to jam up your machine. You know, when areas of super thickness, you could break a needle, and that can be really scary at times. It's not a super big deal. Just make sure to find the different pieces of the needle. You might have the tip, you might have the other part. Make sure to throw all of them away and then add a new needle in. Now, do you need to use a denim needle specifically for hemming your jeans? You can. I didn't. I used my typical universal 80-12 needle. That's what I typically sew and quilt with. But please feel welcome to change needles and try out different things. if you feel like that's necessary or you're just not having a good experience with the needles you're typically using. When it comes to stitching through the regular part of the hem where you don't have the bulk, the biggest tip is to not stretch your jeans, especially if they are on the stretchier side. It can be really tempting to pull on that fabric, and what that does is that actually increases, like stretches it out, and then it stitches it stretched, and that can create a real bubbly look to your hem. This is one of those subtle things about sewing that you might not pick up on immediately, but it definitely makes a big difference as you're advancing and you're wanting a more professional look to your garments. So be really careful to not stretch your jeans. Let the machine feed it for you. The feed dogs on the machine are going to guide it according to the stitch length you've set here on this dial. So I had my stitch length set to 2 millimeters with a nice straight stitch, and that was the perfect size to feed it forward nicely without gagging. If you feel like the stitches are too small though, all you gotta do is go up to 2.5 or 3 millimeters, and that's gonna work even better. So that's it for this tutorial on hemming your blue jeans. I hope you'll give this a try, and of course post any comments that you have, any questions in the comment section below. You can find a full tutorial on hemming your blue jeans at leahday.com/hem. And of course, if you'd like to learn about making bell bottoms as well, you can find links to that tutorial too. Come and check it out at leahday.com/hem. Until next time, let's go sew.